Hello there! This is a review for my 8th handmade corset. Here's the front, the side, the back, and the other side. This corset has a center front of approximately 11.5 inches. The side is 9.25 inch and the back is 12 inches. The waist is 17.5 inches and it's a very curvy corset, as you can see, and I laced down to, on the outside of the corset I laced down to 21 inches, and that is when I'm wearing it very tightly, and I don't waist train, so my body isn't quite used to the curviness of the corset. The pattern is from King & Company on Etsy, and it's the Celine Underbust pattern, and I adjusted the pattern for my fit. So I adjusted, the waist, the hips, and underbust. It is a 7-panel pattern. You can see it more easily on the inside here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 3 layers. The outer layer is the purple Dupioni silk with this blue undertone, as you can see in this light. It's very pretty, and it has these cute little slugs in it that are also bluish color. And it was roll pinned to a 100% cotton, and the inner layer is a dark purple broadcloth and is partially floating, as I'll explain later when I talk about the boning channels. There's an internal waist tape, and it's right here. It's the twill tape. You can sort of see it. So it's invisibly stitched. The busk is actually a black color, but in real light it's hard to tell the difference. It just looks darker than a regular silver, but it doesn't look like black. It looks more like a dark colored chrome. But I still like it. The busk is 10 inches long and 1/2 inch wide. It's fairly flexible. And there's a modesty placket in the front here, so you won't see skin or your shirt or whatever you have underneath it poking out. The corset is single boned. It's boned on each seam, and then it also has bones in the middle of 2 of the channels, and that was to help distribute some of the pressure and also the fabric from wrinkling. And I tried it out on the mock-up and it did make a difference. So where the bones are on the seams, those are sewn into the seam allowances, and then the other 2 bones on the middle of the channels, or the middle of the pattern panels, those are sandwiched to the lining, so that's why it's not perfectly floating. I could have used internal tape, but I didn't have any on hand. I didn't feel like making any, so if you want it completely floating, you can use internal tape before you put on the lining. There are 20 total bones. 16 of them are spiral and 4 of them are flat. The spiral are on the middle panels, and the back are the flats around the grommets. The grommets, there are 30 of them, and they are black, which I've never used before, and I really like them because I only had 1 or 2 splits on the inside. They rolled very nicely. And they are set 3.25 inch apart, and that is better for lacing without the corset unlacing itself. Like when you tighten it, it stays tightened. The laces are the standard ones I use, which are flat black nylon, slightly stretchy. I could have used longer laces because there were so many grommets, and because this corset is so much smaller. This is the smallest one I actually have, and I definitely can't close it all the way, but either way, I have to open up the laces completely to just get it on without hurting the busk. So I would prefer longer laces. I can't remember how many yards it was, but I need one more yard or so. And there's a matching modesty panel. It's a floating modesty panel. So it has the same lining, same outside here. And I used a flap this time, which I actually prefer because it weaves in and out of the laces and keeps it in place better. The binding is also matching, and I'm using the same technique I've been using, or I've used a couple different times. And it's where you sew it on the inside, and then you flip it over, and then you stitch in the ditch. And I like that. I prefer it much more to hand sewing. I'm not really a hand sewing kind of person, so it still looks neat and it works. I find this pattern very comfy. I really enjoy the silhouette. The more bones I added distributed the pressure better, and it made less wrinkles, but there's still a lot of wrinkles, and I'm pretty sure it has to do with the fabric I chose. The corset is almost too curvy for me because I don't waist train, therefore my body doesn't, it prefers less curvy corsets, let's just say that. So I want to use the same pattern again in the future and make another corset, but I would like to alter the pattern so it's a little bit less curvy, and then use cotton instead and see how well it wrinkles or doesn't wrinkle. And then I'd be able to tell for sure if it's the fabric or not, because the pattern came with the grain lines on it, so I actually for the first time paid attention to the grain lines for making a corset. So that should ideally make less wrinkles, but you can't always get rid of them. I had most of the wrinkles more across my front hip again, so that might just be how I am, because there's a lot of corsets I have that actually do that. And this is also one of my favorite corsets I like to wear out of my collection. So if you like this corset and you like my review, please hit the like button. And if you have any questions or comments, write them below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.